Hey, a little bit. Hey, buddy.
Little bit. What's up, baby? What's up?
I'm talking to Jay David, and he's the drummer for Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. And here he is with his beautiful kitty.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful. He understands English, and I think he tells me what to do. See, there was a time when Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show and the Doobie Brothers used to work opposite each other at a club called the North Beach Revival, which held about 300 people. And they were recording their first album. And so we were recording our first album. So we were both, beginning at it. And but the shows were great. And so we remained friends through all those years, So, yeah, good times. Good times.
I was looking over your guys' history, and, you're a Jersey guy, which I am too. I'm broadcasting from Highlands. And you know where Highlands is?
I sure.
Asbury?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Cool, man.
My folks built a house in a town called Lanoka Harbor, which is 9 miles south of Toms River.
Right.
So, yeah, and I played the Parrot Club in Seaside Heights and all up and down there.
Right.
Yeah.
You played the Stone Pony back in the day?
I played there with Merle Saunders. Remember Merle Saunders, Jerry Garcia band? Well, I played there with Merle. Yeah, indeed.
Cool. It's a small world in our business.
Yes, it is. Yeah, those of us that live long enough can say, "Hey," you know what I mean?
Well, obviously you're doing something right. I gotta say,
I've been sheltered in place for over 8 months. I haven't gone out, and because I have COPD. And,
okay.
And so my doctor said, "Jay, you go home and you stay there," and that was on March 12th.
Man.
I did. So now my wife is. There's a church a block away from us, half a block away actually, and she's giving away turkeys and stuff, but so I can't go out and do that.
Right.
That's cool. That's cool.
I started this because of the whole COVID thing coming along. There's no music going on anywhere. There's no work, and I got in a real bad accident about a year ago, so I've kind of, for the most part, sheltered in place since September. Not this year, but the prior year. Just about the time I started feeling real good and ready to attack the world, COVID hits. I'm like, I was actually going, I can go down to the beach, man. It's going to be great. Yeah. And then they closed the beach here in Jersey. I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, I just wanted to sit on you once this year.
Yeah.
Not even once.
I get to sit on my, my backyard. That's as far away as I go. But I do admit to occasionally Carol, my wife, will go to the store and I'll ask her and go as a passenger in a car just to look at other human beings. Wow, there's a person. Look at that. Yeah.
Right.
But I don't get out of the car.
So tell me, Jay, do you play anymore?
I play, but I'm obviously I'm not touring, and I play, but I play keyboards. I play.
Cool.
Yeah, I write on keyboards.
So do I.
Oh, do you? Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I wrote and there's a studio that I had been using down in Palos Verdes, a real studio, and I have a small one here, but that's to demo out what I'm going to do later on. But later on, stretched out, But I wrote a sequel to, or actually a parody of one of my own records. You remember the cover of the Rolling Stone?
I sure do.
Yes.
Kind of heard that a few million times.
Yeah. Well, because I got old, I decided to write the cover of AARP, and well, I'm an old rock singer, got arthritis in my fingers, taking walkers everywhere I go. Yeah. So it's good. It's good. It was on my last solo CD. I got 2 of them out there, and
excellent. Well,
yeah,
I'd like to give some of it a listen, and I think that song just cracks me up. Watching you guys, I have to ask you. I saw that you replaced the first guy. Were you there? Let me make sure I have the time period right. When they got signed by Clive, that's about the time you came on board. Is that correct?
No, a little before that.
Okay.
let's see. I was a staff drummer at Mercury Records in New York City, playing on mostly all of the demos and a few hits. And
awesome.
the guy, the producer, this fellow, and he said, Jay, how'd you like to play with a band called Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show? I said, I don't know. Who are they and how are they? And so he told me where they were playing, and it was in Union City, New Jersey. And so, cool. All right. Because at that time I was living, I don't know, northern New Jersey myself. So Woodridge, I was living in Woodridge, New Jersey. All right. Which
not
is
far from where I live right now.
Yeah, there you go. So I went and I sat in with these guys, and it was a fit. And because it was a fit, they asked me to join them. I joined them, and they had a young kid named Joey playing drums for them. But apparently Joey got in a little bit over his head, and I don't know exactly. But so I just jumped in, and then we went, and the first thing that we did was a movie with Dustin Hoffman, and
right.
And that's where we met Shel Silverstein, and who took a liking to us.
Cool.
And,
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. What was that like?
You mean doing a movie?
Oh no, Shel Silverstein, meeting him.
Meeting Shel was outrageous because he was in all of the Playboy magazines, and he couldn't sing a lick, but he could write hits like you wouldn't believe. And I later did one of his albums, Freaking at the Freakers Ball. And
nice.
All right. Yeah. So what we did was we rehearsed with Dustin and Shel, and at the Fillmore East, we did a one show. We did it in one take, and it was in front of a Grateful Dead crowd.
Cool.
All right.
So they said, "Look, we're gonna do some filming in here." So they said to the crowd, "How'd you guys like to be in a Dustin Hoffman movie?" And they go, "Yeah, man."
Cool.
So the scene was we were playing a song that Shel wrote called "Bunky and Lucille" about a junkie and his old lady, and Dustin, who played the writer of that song in the movie, Shel, as he's singing it, he spots Dustin, and he calls him up to the stage, and then Dustin comes up on the stage and finishes the song with us. And it's in the movie. It's called "Who Is Harry Kellerman?" And
all right.
And why is he saying those terrible things about me? Longest title in the world. But anyway, so us five hippies went to the premiere. It was amazing.
All right.
Yeah, walking down a red carpet. This is goofy,
that must have been great fun for a Jersey guy walking down the red carpet in LA.
Down a red carpet in New York City, and at the premiere, so they're doing all their premiere stuff with the lights and all this shit. Right. So and we looked at each other like, what the hell are we doing here? So the album from the movie was put out on Columbia Masterworks Records, and which we found kind of silly. Here we were playing in Union City in a bar where people were beating each other up last Tuesday, and now we're on Columbia Masterworks. Really, I would have worn matching socks if I had known we were so Clark Davis was running Columbia at that time, heard us, and invited us in to audition for him. So we rehearsed for 8 months. We went up to Connecticut and got a house and woodshed for 8 months. We were ready, except when we were kind of funny. You know what I mean? We did that personalities and not necessarily musicality, but personality. So we went up to the 80th floor in the big black rock in New York City, the Columbia CBS building, and Clive met us at the elevator and walked us into this big room that had a concert-sized stage and 2 seats. And he and Kip Cohen, the vice president, we're going to sit down and decide whether we had
no pressure on that.
Not, So, so I realized we're going to get killed. This guy, he's going to throw our asses out in a New York minute. So I asked him, and it's in his book, Clive, Inside the Music Business. I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Davis." He said, "Oh, no, Clive." I said, "Okay, Clive, where's your office?" He said, "It's right across the hall." I said, and I turned around, I said, "Okay." And I walked across the hall, and he had a kidney-shaped marble desk the size of Rhode Island. It's huge. And so I reached down, I picked up his trash can and turned it over on his desk. Dennis and Ray took out 2 acoustic guitars, and we proceeded to sing that way. And he said, "I must have this band. I have nobody. I must have this band," and signed us to a $750,000 deal. So and how did we get it? I played his trash can. But that
wow, I love it.
Yeah,
improvising.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. Because if we sat down and played the songs. I mean, I'm thinking Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago, and now us. Oh, no, this won't work. So that's how we have to deal.
It's very clever of you to do that. I've found even just writing songs, I like just having a guitar player to work with. I'm a drummer and I sing.
Yeah,
I write a lot of stuff. And, you bring the whole band in and everybody hems and haws. Oh, I think I got to do this. Sometimes you can turn into their one musical statement of their life. It's always the bass player.
Hey! No, it's not. It's never the bassist. It is never the bass player. The bass player is the most laid-back person in the band.
It's always the bass player's fault because you're laid back. It's because you're laid back. That's why we use you like to bruise and batter and
I know, believe me.
Player.
I know, I know. Everything's always my fault for some reason. I'm like, oh my god, can nobody else follow a simple rhythm?
Right. Do you
follow me?
Where's one?
Bob. So let's talk about David Crosby a little bit. How did you meet up with him?
There was a guy named British David Scott is his name. He lives down in Guatemala now. And he said to me, "Jay, you would be perfect for Crosby." And I said, "Well, okay, I'd be happy to go up and do some playing with him." This is in Marin County in Mill Valley. Mm-hmm. And where I lived in Marin for 45 years. And after I left Dr. Hook, that's where I stayed. And so I moved down here to LA to get sober, which I did 17 years ago, and I'm still sober.
Great.
Yeah, so that's why I'm down in LA. So
stay away from your friends.
It's.
I'm in recovery too, so I understand. I'm
okay. You're
2 years.
Oh, good.
I'm a friend of Bill's.
Good.
Yeah,
good,
man.
Good. Yeah. Listen, if I could do it, anybody could do it. I say, So mm-hmm. I had been speaking every once a month with my wife, who's also in recovery. We'd go to the women's prison and speak to the inmates that are trying to get sober,
mm-hmm.
And encourage them. And
that's great.
Good for you.
Experience strength and hope and stuff. So anyway, 17 years.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I forgot Crosby, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, it's sobriety, Crosby. Okay, cool. So in 1981, British David Scott called me up and said, "The time has come. David's going to put a band together. And how'd you like to go up and do some playing?" I said, "Sure, okay." So I did. And it was just Crosby and myself, and so just drums and guitar. But he'd sing a song with harmonies on it, and I'd catch the high harmony. And he said, "The only other drummer I've ever worked with that sings, the only other drummer that sings like that is Levon Helm." And I said, "Well, I've been doing it for a while now, See, I was singing on a radio show when I was 2.
Really?
Yeah. There used to be a chain of automats in New York City called Horn and Hardart automats, and in those days you'd put a quarter in, you'd see the food or whatever you were getting, piece of pie, and you put a quarter in, the door would unlock, and you pull out your piece of pie. So There's one left in New York City, but they hosted the Horn and Hard Art Children's Hour from NBC Radio on Sundays, and so my mother brought me over there, and I sang, so they liked it.
Right.
And, I continued to sing, so I got an early start, you know, and I was singing before I played the drums, but so yeah, Crosby and I sang well together, and I know how to play some drums, and so he asked me to be his drummer, and so that's how that started. And our first gig was August 1st, 1981, and the reason I know that date is because that's the same night that MTV started. That's so
brilliant.
You know, that got locked into the synapse, and that's how I relate to it. You know, at a place called the Phoenix Theater, and because of David's, I call it his hobby, but it was his addiction to pre-base cocaine, that everybody was very happy that David would even come out of his house and play, because everybody thought he was going to die, you know. And he tried his best to do that, just that. But and we went on a road for a couple of years. I'm actually about 8 chapters into writing an autobiography now, and some of these Crosby stories are just insane, you know. It's we were playing at, I'll give you one. We were playing at 12th Street and Broadway, I think, in New York City. I forget the name of the club. They had a big armadillo on the roof of it. I forget the name of the club. I'm sorry, but we were playing there, and a one-nighter, and the owner thought that David didn't play long enough and refused to pay him. So, so Crosby went and got his chrome, his nickel-plated 45, and shit, oh no, I could see it now. Rock star slain in New York City, you know. So I said, David, come on, David, it's $5,000. What the hell, man? You get almost double that in a week, which he did. He was getting $8,000 a week just for back royalties. So, so I convinced him not to do that. He was going to go down and shoot the owner, because the owner put a gun down. He said he wasn't going to pay. So it got very dangerous with David. Obviously, I was the only witness who was bust in Dallas.
Kidding.
Yeah, I'm warming up on my knees with my sticks, and he's smoking his $100 gram in the corner, and all of a sudden I heard a commotion outside. And this was one of those clubs that there's an entrance here coming from the parking lot, and there was nothing door going directly out onto the stage. So my waving around, I'm sorry. So the cops came in anyway, about 40 of them, it seemed like. And he said, "Where is David Crosby?" This is Dallas, mind you. And I try to step in the way, but anyway, it's in his book, but I'll do my version of what happened in mine, you know. So
do you ever run into him now?
No, but we had been talking, and he just disappears out of my life for a while. I'll give him a call. I'm hoping that he says yes to writing a brief something in my book, you know. I never liked J. David. I never liked him at all, you know. He's a bum, and he's a bum too.
I love it.
You know, it's quieted down, and I'm very happy that it's quieted down, because I'd be dead if it didn't. Because I was one of those guys that the party started when I was about 28, and we had Sylvia's Mother, #1 record in the world, and you're 28. People tell you you're cute and you're traveling the world. What's a guy to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,